2015 Excellence Award winner. So we are going to get started with this, and as I mentioned, it is not going to take the full 2 hours by any stretch. We're going to start off just talking about Platinum, and I do recognize that everyone on the call for the makeup session, I think maybe with the exception of Adam, has been through the USAA training before, so we will do kind of a expedited version of this since it is a repeat for many of you. But I do want to mention we do have Platinum status again for this year, and that's very important because the rotation that we get from Cardis for our affinity referrals are based on our status. Anything less than Platinum means we are diluting the rotation and we're getting a lot less referrals than we would get if we were Platinum. So right now we share Platinum status with ERA Sotheby's in the Denver Metro and with ERA Shields in Colorado Springs. And so the idea is to continue Platinum each and every year, and this is why we ask you to follow all of the directions and guidelines that we have, because we're rated on everything. We're rated on initial contact, when you give us an update when a sale goes pending. As quick as you can get us the closing paperwork, we're rated on that. We need that in within 24 hours, the closing statement and the paperwork that we need. So all of those rules and guidelines are in place because we're scored on an annual basis based on how well we do with all of those criteria. So we do want to keep the Platinum status going as long as we can. This is the annual Cardis Network Affinity Services training. You will be certified for 1 year until spring of 2017 after today, and you will get some follow-up information after today's presentation as well. The next slide that you see is the affinity service results for 2015. This is for all of Cardis. This is for all of Cardis's affinity clients. So it is not our region, it is for the entire country. So you can see the overall affinity customers received has gone down, or had gone down a little bit last year, about 5%, which resulted in placements to the network going down. However, pending sales and closings were still up last year from the prior year, so that is good news. We do get rated on the service that we provide by our agents and the program service as well. So you'll see at the bottom there are two separate categories. One is for USAA, one is for HES. HES is stands for Home Event Services. That is all non-USAA business. So when we go through the presentation, we'll talk about USAA as its own entity, and we'll talk about HES as all other affinity clients for Cardis. And to give you an idea, USAA for our department here at least makes up about half of all of our relocation closings per year. So we close about 2,000 transactions in Colorado, and about 1,000 of them are USAA files. So it's a big, big piece of our volume, a very important piece of business. You can see the service results at the bottom. It's based on the evaluations that the members fill out. So if you look at USAA service, when we talk about the program, this is what the members rated the program for their satisfaction. 83.8% of them were satisfied with their service. 87.1% were satisfied with their agent. When we talk about USAA, it is an 8-point scale, so it's more than being satisfied. It's a 7 or 8 ranking, the 8-point scale. And whoever just joined, if you can put your phone on mute, we're getting some background. Home Event Services is at the bottom, all other USA, non-USAA business. The program was rated at a 93.8% satisfaction, and the agents for those programs were rated at 92.7%. On our HES clients, it's a little different. It's a 10-point scale, so that's a 9 or 10 would be considered a excellent service. So that gives you an idea of the program overall. There's still a lot of work to do nationally, and they're working on raising, even though you see the results have gone up for the program and the agent for both types of business. We do, need that to go up even more. The goal is 90% across all lines, so we need to work on the USAA service piece a bit. With the next slide, I'm actually going to turn it over to Travis. Travis is one of our affinity account managers that you probably know or will get to know. He's going to go over the next few slides specifically on Coldwell Banker Colorado's performance.
Thank you, Tom. It's good to see everybody on here. Sorry we couldn't have seen each other in person, but I'll go through here a little bit on what we achieved last year as an affinity group here. Our home finding for our Hess clients, and as Tom stated, these are all Navy Federal or Discover Bank and some of the smaller affinity clients that Cardis has. We achieved 44% home finding conversion with a goal of 45, so just short there. We had a 35% conversion for our listings with a goal of 30, so we did very well there. Our program was rated 100% by their members, Navy Fed and other smaller clients, with a goal of 90%, but we did fall short with our agents at 83% with a goal of 90. Below is the USAA numbers. Again, we fell short with home finding conversion with a goal of 50. We ended up with 47%. Our listings did very well, as you can see. We ended up with 40% conversion with a goal of 30%. And then our program was at 83% last year, as Tom alluded to a little bit earlier, but our agents did make goal at 92% with a goal of 90. And just so you guys know, all of those goals for conversion for home finding and list for both USAA and Hess, the home finding conversion this year for Hess and USAA are at 50%, and we are currently a little short. I think we were at 48% last time we checked. The goals for listing conversion are 35%, and I believe we're meeting both of those goals for USAA and Hess. So Tom, there you go, thanks. And here is the number of closings along with the sales volume that goes with it. The combined the USAA and Hess listings and purchases. There you can see the number of closings we had for listing and purchase, along with the sales volume and total business for affinity, list, and home find combined, along with that sales volume as well. So as I stated earlier, it looks like I was off on the listing conversion. We are at 33% for our goals this year for both USAA and home event services, with a goal of 50% for the home find for both. And the program and our agents are being held to a goal of 90% for USAA and Hess. If any of you don't know what an AGR is, it is an agent-generated referral. And last year we had goals to achieve 6 closings for all Navy Federal business we submitted to Cardis last year. We ended up having 14 closings, so we kind of blew away that goal of 6. USAA closings, we had a goal of 72 and ended up with 91. So thank you for everybody who contributed to those numbers. We still are taking all agent-generated referrals that we can get. This year we haven't seen a goal as of yet, but we are getting plenty of them in, so we appreciate that. And here is kind of a slide that describes what an AGR is to the agent and also the member. This is a great way to build your business. So if you are meeting members at open houses or through different connections you guys may have, just remember if they are USAA or Navy Federal Credit Union members or any other smaller client that Cardis has, please let them know that there's a possibility that they would be able to receive a cash bonus. It's something that most of the members don't know that they're able to have. So if you are introducing them to these programs, most of these members are very grateful. And just to let you know that if by chance these members find out about the program and you all are working together and maybe you don't know their members, they will enroll themselves, and at that time the referral fee does come through at a higher percentage. So we want you guys to be able to take advantage of that lower referral fee, as well as let these members know of a bonus that they can receive as well.
Great, thanks, Travis. So we are not going to be playing the videos. We've tried it in the past with WebEx, and they do not play through loud enough for you to hear. So when you get this presentation, if you are reviewing it later on, you can certainly click through some of the videos, but we'll tell you a little bit about them as we go through them. The one that you might want to see is on this slide here. When you do get the presentation, it is Larry and Marilyn McFall from the Denver Tech Center office, the Southeast Metro. Their video was actually selected to go into the national training, and what they're talking about is they're talking about how they achieved so many agent-generated referrals. So last year they closed 15 agent-generated referrals in addition to any business we gave them or any personal business of their own. 15 closings were just from agent-generated referrals. And in the video, they really talk about how they market themselves as the go-to folks for anyone in the military, you know, retired, active family members as well. And they've built a reputation and a niche for this type of business. And so that's why year after year, they get so many agent-generated referrals. And as Travis mentioned, it's a greatly reduced referral fee. It's a 30% flat rate, and that is exactly what we pay Cardis so that the rebate can be processed for both Navy Federal and USAA. So we don't make any profit on those, but it's good business for us, and it's you know, just a good way to share the program with your sphere that may not know that they're eligible for some of these programs. So we're going to switch to In Touch, and we're going to talk just briefly on this. Hopefully most of you had gone through the In Touch training when your offices did the rollout. We were out to all the offices about, I guess it was a year ago now, and then we did some follow-up training as well. So hopefully you're all using the Market Leader In Touch system. You will need to use it for relocation because that is where you're going to be doing all of your updates. So if you have any difficulties or trouble with it, let us know, and we'll you know, figure out a way to give you a one-on-one training. But you will need to get into Market Leader In Touch now that you're on the team. So this is the lead router phone number. You all probably recognize it. It's the same number that would come through with a lead on your own listing, for example, or on a lead that you get through Zillow, Trulia, any of the AVP programs. So this same number is the number that you'll see come up when you get a USAA lead through Project Connect, through Lead Router. And you should save that number to your phone so that you recognize it as it comes in. And you should you know, customize your ringtone, do anything that you can so that you recognize it. Just to give everyone on the call an idea about, well, the goal is to have about 50% of the leads through Lead Router, and about 50% of the leads will be placed manually through the Affinity account managers here for various reasons. So they can't all go through the system. They started off with different numbers, and now we're running about 50% through the system automatically, and 50% you'll get a manual phone call just like you have in the past saying, hi, this is Travis. I've got a new referral in your market. Here's what they're looking for. And so you'll get both. You'll get lead router leads and you'll get manual leads over the phone. So I guess I'll just back up one slide here. When you get that recording, you'll press 1 if you're able to take it, and you'll hear the source as USAA for this the purpose of this training. You'll hear USAA, and you'll hear the lead information. You'll accept the lead, and you can actually select 5 for those of you that use the system. If you select 5 after you accept the lead, it will dial the member back. And we have had agents use it with a lot of success, saying that, right then and there, they have the time, they just accepted the lead, and they are going to dial the member back at the number that they called, the number that's in the lead, and you'll get connected with them immediately. So we ask that you contact the member within 30 minutes of getting this lead. The CARDIS guidelines give us up to 4 hours to reach the member, but we are asking you to call within 30 minutes. And the sooner you call after getting the lead, the higher the conversion and the higher likelihood that you are going to get that person on the phone and get them as a client. Because 4 hours later or 6 hours later, it's not going to be possible. They might have moved on to something else, or they may no longer, they might have found another agent already. So very important to do that. If you see the call come through and you know that you're going to be tied up for more than 4 hours, you're just sitting down to a closing, or you just started a home inspection that you know is going to take several hours, you don't want to accept that lead, because the likelihood of you being able to make time to call them back within the time frame we need is unlikely. So you can let that one go, and you would stay at the top of the rotation. You would be dialed up for the next lead. So don't worry about not taking the lead if you are not going to be able to call them immediately. So we ask you, once you do call the member, that you go into the InTouch system and you put a comment in stating that you attempted contact. And for those of you, and hopefully all of you use the InTouch system, the way you're going to get into the system, and we'll talk more about it later on, the specific requirements, but the way you're going to go into the system is you're going to access InTouch through the NRT gateway. Once you log into the gateway, you'll see a dashboard. You'll click on the dashboard and you'll click on contacts. It's going to give you all of your contacts. You'll see the contact that you just accepted. And when you open that contact record, there's a comment box about halfway down. If you scroll down, it's a comment box. It's blank. It's for narrative, for you to write in the field. You'll simply put a message in there, contacted, or left a message for member 10 a.m. this morning, waiting to hear back, or sent an email to member, at 12 noon, waiting to hear back. We need to know your first attempt to the member, and we need it in the comment box for the InTouch record. And we also need to know the exact time that you did that, because if you're updating this at 10 o'clock at night and you don't put in the comments when you called, then unfortunately it looks like you contacted them at 10 o'clock at night, which could be 12 hours after you received the lead. So in the comments, you want to put the actual time that you attempted contact. It will record the date that you're putting it in. So if it's the same day, you don't need to repeat that. But if you're putting it in tomorrow morning and you contacted them today, the comment should read attempted contact Monday, June 6th, 6 p.m., left message. So just make sure that we are reading that, tracking that, and we need to know your first contact. So again, the guidelines, 30 minutes. After you make your initial contact, you should be leaving a voicemail message, and then you can send the USAA welcome email. I will send that out as a follow-up with this training presentation. You can send it out through InTouch if you know how to do a quick text. You can send out the welcome email through the InTouch account. Otherwise, you can send it out manually as well. We ask you to make your next attempt within 8 business hours. And the guideline here from Cardis is that you attempt contact each day for 1 week. Now, what we do here in our department is we ask you to call us. If you've made 3 or 4 attempts over 3 or 4 days, then we ask you to call into the Affinity account manager here that's assigned to the file, either Travis or Ben. Let them know that you're just not getting any response. We'll go back to Cardis, and a lot of times we'll find out from Cardis what the reason is. They'll reach out to the member, and they'll find out maybe they initiated them into the program, prematurely, and they're not ready for another week or a month or something like that. So rather than spend the time for a solid week, let us know if you don't make contact, after your first 3 or 4 attempts. So again, you've accepted the lead. We ask you to immediately call the USAA member, leave a comment in the InTouch system, again in the comment box, for the contact record for that member. So that contact record will automatically be set up through InTouch when the lead is sent through Lead Router. You'll just go in, you'll see the dashboard. Again, you'll click on Contacts. You'll find the contact, you'll scroll down to comments, you'll put in that brief comment whether you've reached them or whether you've had to leave a message. And so we get this question as well, can I return a lead to relocation that I received through Lead Router? So it works the same way as when you get a manual lead from Ben or Travis. When you talk to the member, it may very well be that they're coming in this weekend or next weekend. You may already have it blocked off for another member or another corporate transferee that you're working with. You may have to turn that lead back to us. That is not a problem. We will reassign that to another agent. There's no automated way to turn it back. So once you've accepted it, you need to contact the department here, either Ben or Travis. They could manually reassign it. We know emergencies come up. Just always call your person here so that we know what's going on. The only thing that is not a reason to return a lead is price point. So if you accept the lead, we ask you to do everything you possibly can to educate the person, even if you know there is no inventory in their price point or it's an unrealistic price point altogether. We still ask you to make the call. If you get we had a lead not that long ago, I forget, it was like $45,000 or $50,000, something like that. We ask you to reach out to the member, explain that, no matter where you are in Colorado, even if you're looking for a small condominium, you probably wouldn't find something for under, X, 100,000, whatever it is. And then, send them a couple of sample listings. Here's what $100,000 would buy. Maybe you can check on your pre-qualification to see if you can possibly qualify for more, something like that. We don't, we just want to make sure that you're servicing the lead and you're not just sending it back to us, because we would only have to send it to another person who would have to, take the time to educate the member. So do as much as you can with those. And the key obviously is timely comments, timely contact, and just keeping in touch with the reload department and with the member themselves. And Ben has a piece a little bit later on. He's going to talk about specific requirements here in Colorado and what we're looking for. And the note that just popped up here is your updates are time-stamped. So that is what will count. So we want to just make sure, again, if you are entering something later, if you put in the comments the exact date and time that contact occurred, we can get you credit for contacting them sooner. Otherwise, we have to rely on the timestamp that came through. One thing that I wanted to mention, we are looking to do a volunteer activity with some of our affinity counselors. We're trying to find a military-based activity that we can do. I have been working with a group. It's the Eastern Colorado VA Hospital, and hopefully we will be setting a date with them for sometime this summer, and we'll send that out to you. And we'd like to just get together as a group and do something where we can give back to the veteran population. So more details to come on that. Let's see how we're doing here. Okay, so we've got a few more slides to go into before we have Ben go over some of the processes. You heard some of the numbers from Travis about USAA and home event services. So here's some more information. This is specifically home event services, specifically non-USAA business. Travis gave the examples of Navy Federal, Discover Bank, American Airlines, Allstate Insurance. Those are the non-USAA home event service business. So this is Cardis's numbers year over year. They achieved 8,900 closings last year. It's up about 15% from the prior year. The placements to the network for home event services is up about 4%. We will send out some information after this with these slides. There's an affinity client matrix and tells you who the affinity clients are and what some of the cashback bonuses look like. The only thing is I would caution really not to advise a particular member as to what program is best for them, because we really don't know what program is best for them. You can let them know that if they are, active or retired military or a family member of military, they may be qualified for USAA membership or Navy Federal membership, and you can certainly get them to the website or to the toll-free number so that they can check it out. But I would steer clear of giving the cashback amounts or comparing programs, as the programs do change. We don't always get the updates, as soon as it happens, and you could be caught talking about, a rebate program that either doesn't exist or exists in a different amount than you're discussing. So we ask you not to do that. It's for your information only. There's a new client called Benefit Hub. They have online benefits for employers. It's a huge organization. 9 million employees covered under this Benefit Hub. We've already started seeing some referrals come through. So just know that that's out there as well. You may get a call from one of the affinity account managers here saying that we have a Benefit Hub referral. Works the same way. It's just a part of the HES program. So going into the specifics for one of the larger HES programs, Navy Federal is actually the largest HES program. We close, I didn't run the numbers for this year. I know the prior year was about 100 closings with Navy Federal compared to the 1,000 closings with USAA. So it's still a very sizable account for us, but it is kind of overshadowed, by the volume we do with USAA. So here's some information on Navy Federal Credit Union. Excuse me. It was founded in 1933. 6 million members strong. That's up 14% year over year. 13,000 employees, 279 branch locations, 2 branch locations here in Colorado, 1 at the Buckley Air Force Base and 1 in Colorado Springs. And then you can see the areas that it covers: the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and their families. Opportunities with Navy Federal were increased last year, again, throughout the Cardis network. You can see the placements were up 17%. Closings were up 24%, and they're actually looking to increase their closings this year to 14,000. So if you see that $9,000 figure, they're looking to increase it by 5,000. So they're looking to increase it by 50% in this coming year. So there's a big push for Navy Federal. You'll see lots of marketing and other things being done by Cardis and by Navy Federal themselves, trying to be more competitive and get the word out to their member base so that they can increase their transactions. Navy Federal Credit Union, if you're on the landing page or you send someone to the landing page, they could put in Realty Plus, and that is the program that Navy Federal uses for their rebate program. They could put that in and get information about the Realty Plus program. We also have some marketing tools that you can use in your marketing if you wanted to market yourself as a Navy Federal approved agent. Just see one of us in Relo, and we can get you that information if you're looking to send out postcards, want to use the logo, or want to send out a flyer, co-branded with Navy Federal. There's product flyers. You can see there's a spot on there where you can personalize it with your own information if you wanted to do a mailing or an emailing of some kind. Just so you know, they have a 100% conventional financing program. So for those folks who do not qualify for a VA loan, or maybe have their VA loan eligibility already being used on another property, they can go through the Navy Federal 100% financing program. Just keep in mind the rate is going to be higher because there's no PMI or mortgage insurance. It's all rolled into the rate, and there's no down payment required. They do allow jumbo loans as well for 100% financing, so that's an option that's not available in a lot of situations as well. Some of their other programs, they have a guarantee rate match. So if a Navy Federal member closes with another mortgage company, if Navy Federal was unable to match the rate during the mortgage process, they will give the member $1,000 after closing. So even though they're closing with someone else, they will give them the $1,000 if they had the opportunity to match the rate during the application process and they decided not to, and the member went somewhere else. So it's a pretty strong guarantee. I'm guessing in most cases they're going to match the rate because it's not worth it for them to take $1,000 loss, just sending out checks to folks who have not used them for financing. So they want to be as competitive as possible. They do have a Freedom Lock promotion where a member could lock in their rate for 60 days. There's a one-time float down option. If the rate goes down, they could get up to a quarter-point rate reduction one time during that 60-day lock period at no additional cost to relock at that lower rate. Let's see, Navy Federal Credit Union's quoting 45 days to close right now. If you have the need to write an offer for less than 45 days due to our competitive market, please call the Navy Federal Credit Union Agent Help Desk first before writing the offer. Get connected to a loan officer that can give you more insight as to what you can or can't do before you write the offer. They may be able to expedite that and allow you to write an offer that is for less than the 45 days, but you do need to call them ahead of time. Here are some of the programs that make them unique. The Home Buyer Choice, again, which is the 100% financing, no PMI, seller can contribute up to 6%, and they do have jumbo loan amounts available up to $1 million. They have a 5-5 arm, so instead of a 5-year arm that adjusts every year after that, it's a 5-year arm that adjusts every 5 years after that, I believe. So someone may be interested in that product. They do the 100% loan and jumbo product with no PMI on that 5-5 product as well. Let's see. So I know you all heard earlier this year that we are no longer doing the UPQ process on USAA. So no longer are you letting us know if the member decides to investigate other mortgage programs other than USAA Mortgage. We are not requiring you to tell us, and there actually isn't really any mode or method to do that anymore. So that has completely gone away. However, on Navy Federal Credit Union, they do still want to know when someone is shopping around, and they do want to have a chance to save the deal. So you do want to let us know as soon as possible if you hear that they are checking out other loan programs with other companies. And again, they've got that loan rate match program. So they do want to have the opportunity to match the program or match the rate before someone decides to go somewhere else. As far as pending sales go, they still use a fax cover sheet to Navy Federal. And again, you'll have this presentation in your email after this. So you'll have the numbers and everything you need here, but you do need to notify Navy Federal. You do need to send the contract cover sheet once you have a contract accepted so that they will know that they're going forward with the loan application. Let's see, there's a Navy Federal Help Desk that I mentioned earlier. It's the same number that you saw on the previous slide. Option number 2, to get connected to a loan officer for assistance. Here are the branches they serve. We talked about this a little bit earlier. These are all of the ways someone can qualify. Navy Federal is somewhat more lenient than USAA. So if you have someone that doesn't qualify for USAA membership, it's possible they could qualify for Navy Federal membership. One of the differences is that someone living in a household with a Navy Federal member is automatically eligible. So if they share the physical address, then they can get a Navy Federal account. So they could be a roommate, they could be a fiance, whatever the situation is. They do not need to be married, or they do not need to be a family member to be sponsored by a Navy Federal member. So it's a little bit easier than some other programs. 6 million members today, 67%, about 2/3 are non-military, 1/3 are comprised of military members, just to give you an idea of how that breaks down. We are going to have Corey Fox, who is our business development analyst for USAA, on a little bit later on to talk about specifically the USAA program. So you'll see some of the differences between the two programs. Next, we have Ben Lesavoy, one of our affinity account managers. He is going to talk about standard operating procedures that we use here in our department. So Ben, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Tom. So yeah, I'm just going to go over some of the standard operating procedures that we have here in our department. And as Tom mentioned earlier, this slide says that the initial contact goal is no later than 4 hours from assignment. However, our goal is 30 minutes here. So if you can't make the call, then don't accept the lead, as you mentioned. Always refer to the program name, whether that's USAA or one of the home event services programs, and properly address the member using their rank if it's provided. When you get them on the phone or email them, clarify what their needs are, know their preferred mortgage lender, and keep in contact with us, especially if you're unable to make contact with them. Always let us know, and attend the closing as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. The key focus for 2016 is to use all the contact methods that are provided. So, if you can't make contact through phone, go ahead and try them by email. Every member is different on how they like to be communicated with. An initial contact report is due into us regardless of the live contact within 1 business day. So that's a new requirement by Cardis that we submit initial contact to them within 24 hours, and it does increase our platinum points. We are graded on it, so it's really important that we get that from you guys. It's important because Cardis tells the member that you'll be in contact within 1 business day or sooner. The coordinator then follows up within 48 hours to ensure that you've made contact, and we don't want to lose especially listings to our competitors due to a slower response time than our competitors, especially, Liv Sotheby's, ERA Shields. I believe that's down in Colorado Springs. We don't want to lose our business to them. So just make sure that your response time as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. Successful contact. The initial contact process is to immediately submit the initial contact activity report to us within 1 business day. As Tom mentioned earlier, we really need the date, time, and method of contact, as well as additional information if you were able to make contact with them. If you are unable to make contact with the member, let us know as soon as possible, especially if multiple attempts have been tried over the course of 3 business days. It's important to submit the initial contact activity report with all the attempts that you've tried to make so that we can go ahead and get in touch with Cardis for further assistance. If those 3 days have passed and, then you do finally make contact with the member, they were out of town, they were busy, let us know as well so we can pass that information on to Cardis also. this slide is just basically some scripting that you can use for the surveys that USAA and Navy Federal and Coldwell Banker send out after the deal is closed. So you don't have to use this exact verbiage, but it's always good to let the member know that at their first face-to-face meeting with them that they're going to be receiving a survey from USAA or Navy Federal asking how their experience was. And it's also good to follow up with them after the home is closed as well. We send you a email reply when you send over the settlement statements to us after the property is closed that includes a date that's 15 days out from closing, and that date is when you should reach back out to that client and contact them and let them know that the survey is coming, because USAA sends out the survey 17 days after closing, and now that there's $100 bonuses involved on excellent surveys, it's a good idea to make sure that they are receiving them and that they do fill it out so that you can get an excellent survey. So yeah, next slide, please. So this is just the affinity survey process, the dates that after closing that the surveys are sent out to the member. 7 to 10 days after closing, the USAA mortgage evaluation is emailed. 10 days after closing, the home event services evaluation is emailed. 14 days after closing is the last day for the member to update their email address with USAA so that they can receive the surveys. 17 days after closing, the USAA evaluation is emailed. 17 days after closing, the home event services evaluations are emailed again if they aren't completed. And we receive the completed evaluation results 60 days after closing. This is when we're able to process the bonus checks. And 120 days after closing is the last day to have a HES evaluation resent. Next slide, please. And as I was just mentioning, the $100 bonus for each affinity survey is now being applied through our department. So what that means is that if you score a 9 or a 10 across the board on a USAA survey, that's the top-notch service, you will be able to get a $100 bonus check from us, as mentioned, within probably 60 days after the results are sent out. And on all home event services, that would be a 7 to 8 score, depending on the program. So yeah, with that being said, I think I'm going to pass it back over to Tom.
Great, thanks, Ben. That was great. Next, we're going to talk about, before we get into the USAA specific piece, we wanted to just put this slide up here. This came from the Cardis training for this year. They want to make sure we included this into the presentation. And I'm sure many of you, probably all of you, have heard about the email scams that have been taking place where someone hacks into a realtor's email account, gets their information, and really poses as the agent or an escrow officer and gives new wiring instructions, which are not the correct wiring instructions, and the money gets sent off to some faraway land in someone's bank account other than the title company that's doing the actual closing. So we just wanted to put this as part of the presentation as just one more check. I know that Guardian has gone to a two-step process now for verifying wiring instructions, and I know that you have a new form with our packets that you have buyers sign, a new addendum or disclosure talking about what's going on with the wire fraud scams lately. But just another reminder to be extra diligent when it comes to this and make sure your buyers know how to verify wiring instructions when they change, and that they should contact you if they're suspicious at any time about a change. With that, we are going to turn this over to Corey Fox. So Corey joined us at the end of last year. She replaced Corbin Black, for those of you that were on the USAA team prior. So Corey's role is a little bit different from Corbin's, and she is going to talk to us a little bit about her role, and then she is going to go through the USAA specific slides before turning it over to me for our wrap-up and Q&A. So with that, Corey, I will turn it over to you.
Thanks, Tom. Hi, everyone. So like Tom said, so my name is Corey, and I am basically filling in for Corbin. And like Tom mentioned, there is a little bit of changes from how Corbin was supporting you guys and how I will be able to support you. So basically last year, along with many other changes, there were some regulatory changes that forced us as senior business development advisors to separate ourselves from mortgage because we are not licensed loan officers. And so basically what that means is where before Corbin was able to get into individual files when you guys had issues or questions and that kind of thing, I am no longer able to do that. Basically, you would follow your current escalation process. So how that looks is if you have a question or you have an issue with a loan, what you do is first off, you would call the agent help desk. And I don't know if any of you are too familiar with the agent help desk, but basically what it is it's a team in San Antonio that is there dedicated to take your calls. So they're usually very great about being able to get back to you very shortly if they don't answer the phone, but usually they're right there able to take your call and offer you any solutions or help escalate it if that needs to happen. And so I will give you guys the number right now. So if for those of you who don't get the information I provide you today, just let me know and I can send it over to you. But the phone number for the agent help desk is 800-914-9691. And so you would call that. If you have any questions, they'll be able to help you. They'll be able to reach out to the processor or the closer and figure out what's going on. But you can also escalate through your reload team as well, and then they can do a separate escalation through Cardis. And I think Tom has mentioned before, they're very, very quick at getting you guys a response if you have any issues. With that being said, I will tell you guys, and we'll kind of go through some of this as part of the training today, but I know that, the last, year and a half years been very, very rough as far as, USAA is concerned when it comes to our mortgage. And we've made a lot of changes. And so, it's one of those things that it's not going to be improved overnight, and it's, you're not going to see an immediate, complete change. But we have new leadership that's in our whole mortgage and bank area that is revamping and changing everything. And I think what you guys will find is in the near future, and even now, what I'm hearing from other agents is that the process has been a lot smoother. It's been a lot easier, and that's what we want. We know it's been, really challenging not only for our members, but for you guys as well as our partners. And we want to make that easier for both of you. And so we're really making those steps to make it easier. So I'm hoping that these escalations become less and less for you guys. But just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on how that's changed. But how my primary focus now, and this has all changed in 2016, is we are really focused on building awareness on the program. So we've found out that only 6% know about the Real Estate Rewards program. So it's a 94% opportunity for us to grow this program. So with USAA having over 10 million members, that's a substantial amount of members that have no clue about what this program is. And so, with the help of you guys, spreading the word to members, we're also really ramping up our marketing and advertising. So we don't really do a whole lot of marketing and advertising. It's just not kind of something that USAA does, but we are starting to do more of that. And so to really grow the program, our COO has said that out of everything that USAA offers, the Real Estate Rewards Network is the #1 benefit to members. which is a really huge statement because USAA offers so many products and services. And so now that, we're really starting to market that, we're doing a lot of things on a national level, so PR campaigns, radio shows, newspaper ads, all of that. And so my focus is to do that on a local level. So to get out into the community, do various events, being able to talk to members face-to-face, tell them about the program, and getting them enrolled, which in turn gives you guys more business, right? The more we can grow it, the more leads that you guys are going to receive from us. The other thing that we're going to be focused on that I'm going to be looking at is how to help you guys prevent dropout. So 42% of our members that enroll into the program drop out for one reason or another. And now we know that some of those, they don't end up deploying or they don't PCS, those kinds of things. But there is a small percentage that do drop out because, there wasn't a call fast enough or they end up using another agent for whatever reason. So I want to help you guys try to prevent that, which will allow you guys to, to keep even more business than you already are. So those are the two things that, that I'm really focusing on. And as far as events go, if there's any event that you guys are going to be working or something that you think would be an opportunity for us to partner together, and we can co-brand, we can, do that kind of stuff. And any event that we work, that's business for you guys. And so keep that in mind. I'll give you guys my phone number and email address here in just a second. And then, if there's an event that you would like me to be at with you, I know that, the USAA sign, just from experience working USAA events, really draws in a lot of members to come over and just say hello and that kind of thing. And so it's a way to, increase business. So if that's something that you guys find that you would like me to do, let me know. I would be happy and would love to help you guys. So, let me give you guys my phone number since I'm not able to give you my business cards in person. My phone number is 719-373-8078. So again, 719-373-8078. And then my email address is Corey, Korey, .fox, Fox, @USAA.com. And if anybody didn't get that, just let me know before we get off the call. That way I can make sure I get you that. So with that being said, are there any questions so far before we kind of get into the USAA portion of the training?
Let me just see, Corey, I have everyone on mute,
Sure.
But let me.
Yeah. No question.
Everyone okay? So what we'll do is,
Did I hear someone?
at the end of this, I will open it up
Say that one more time, Tom. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
at the end of this, I'll open it up and we'll take any questions. So I'll keep everyone for this point. At
Great.
This point.
Perfect. All right. So let's push forward. So the first slide that you're looking at here is part of the USAA portion of it. It's just something that most of you guys are already familiar with. Those of you who have been on the team, this might be something to keep in mind. So basically, working with the military is going to be a little different than your average client. So one, they're going to have an accelerated timeline. So a lot of the times, if they're in another state or even in another city, sometimes they only get 7 to 10 days leave for house hunting. So it's already difficult and a challenge for you guys as it is right now because of the market and how crazy it is. But to even have to shorten that up even to a smaller timeline because, our military members don't have much. So that's going to be something that you guys will, you'll notice. Another thing is their budget amount. So BAH is the military's monthly housing allowance. And so most members will want to keep their mortgage payment within that dollar amount. So if they're allotted, $1,500 for BAH, they're probably going to want their mortgage to be roughly around that. Now, sometimes that might change, but just to keep that in mind so you are familiar with that term BAH. Safe neighborhood, good school district, those are all things that most of your members are going to want regardless. But you got to think about those military spouses who are here with their children and, their spouse is deployed or overseas. They're going to really want to make sure that they're in a neighborhood where they feel comfortable. And then resale or future rental, also, most members are going to want this as well, but a lot of the times with military, sometimes they're going to get orders and they have to, report to a new duty station in 2 weeks, or, maybe even longer than that. But a lot of the times they're not going to have an opportunity to go through the wholesale. So a lot of the times they're going to want to rent out that property. So they're going to want something that is going to be in an area where they're going to, be able to easily rent out that home. All right, we'll go to the next slide. Thank you. All right, so this is just kind of an overview of USAA. So our mission that's here kind of up top is something that's really important to USAA. It's not, a typical company where, the mission's posted or the mission is on a poster in the break room, which nobody knows. The mission is at the forefront of everything with USAA. It's at every meeting. So anytime there's a meeting, whether that is an MSR that's on the phone, whether that's an executive, any meeting always starts with the mission. And it's something that, is really important to USAA because it really explains what we do and who we serve. And then toward the bottom, our core values, these align with the military, so service, loyalty, honesty, and integrity. Our brand promise, which you guys have probably seen on our commercials, and then our brand pillars, which is how we want our members to view us. So shared military values, financial strength and wisdom, and passionate member advocacy. Next slide. Thank you. So this is our strategy statement for the Real Estate Rewards Network. So we want to aspire to be a core benefit to the members, brokers, and agents, and the enterprise by providing exceptional member value and guiding members into a deeper USAA relationship through a high-fidelity real estate network. Next. Thank you. And then can you click through? Thank you. So these are just some interesting statistics for you guys. So 92% of our members who join USAA stay with us for life. So I think that just kind of speaks to USAA and how we take care of our members and how we truly look out for their best interests. I know that as far as aside from mortgage, USAA has a very, very strong reputation of being the best. And unfortunately, we're not really there with the mortgage right now, and we know that and we recognize that, and that's why we've really made some significant changes even this year already, and will be making changes this year to improve that. So across the board, we're known as the best. The next is member households generating 800 buyer-sell transactions, so a pretty large number. Next slide, please. Thank you. So as Tom mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of difference in the membership eligibility criteria than Navy Federal. So Navy Federal has a little bit more lax, I'd say. So I'll kind of go through and explain the eligibility portion of it. And if you guys have any questions on any of it, please let us know at the end so I can help answer that. One thing I will tell you guys, if you have any questions, you're out with members or even a potential member and you're not sure if they're eligible, give me a call, send me an email. You can even shoot me a text message, and I can help you to determine if a member is eligible. But basically, the way the eligibility works is it's going to, it flows downward. So what that means is if I'm eligible, I wouldn't be able to pass eligibility to my siblings or an aunt and uncle. It has to go downward. So I could pass it to my spouse. That would be the only exception. But I would be able to pass it down to my children, and then my children would be able to pass that down to their children, and so on and so forth. And so usually the way that somebody would be able to be eligible would be through having some type of relation to the military. So let's say I wanted to be eligible, but my grandparents had served. My grandparent, because they had served in the military and honorably served, they would be eligible for USAA. And then in order for them to pass eligibility down, they would have to have a policy with USAA at some point. And it doesn't matter how long the policy is in place. It doesn't even really matter what kind of policy, as long as it's an insurance policy. So auto, homeowners, renters, a jewelry policy, umbrella policy, any of those kinds of policies. And so as the grandparent, with having that policy in place, it automatically passes it down to the to the parents. So it wouldn't be able to actually skip down to the grandchildren unless the grandchildren were legally adopted by the grandparents. So it can't, essentially it can't skip generations. So it has to go from the grandparents who had a policy at some point, so that passes it down to the parents. Now the parents are eligible, so all the parents would have to do is start a policy with USAA. Again, same criteria, doesn't matter how long. And then as soon as the parents have that policy, it automatically locks in eligibility for those children. And then the children would be eligible, and then the children can pass it down to their children the same way. So it just kind of continues to flow downward. If you have a member who knows for a fact, let's say you know that they served, but they've never called USAA, they can call us, and they can even just start a simple policy with USAA called a valuable personal property policy. It's a policy that's approximately $2.50 a month, so very inexpensive, and it's going to give some basic coverage for jewelry items. That would be an acceptable policy that would immediately lock in that membership, so that member can take advantage of the network and use the program and use you and get the cash back. And then if they have children or if they're married, it passes that eligibility down to them. So like I said, if there's any questions on that, you have any questions, please let me know at the end. One thing that I did forget to mention earlier that I want to touch on real quick is, so back to when I mentioned how I was able to support you and the difference between me and Corbin, there is one exception, and the exception would be if you have a day of closing issue, something's going on for some reason, that would be the one exception in which I would be able to get involved. Now, I wouldn't be able to, really dive into the file or anything like that, like Corbin was able to, but what I can do is I would ask that you guys would send me a detailed email with all of that information, so the members' information and everything that's going on, because what I will do is forward that on to a team. We have a specific team that's dedicated to handling day of closing issues. And so if you do happen to find yourself in that issue, hopefully, like I said, with some of the changes that we're making, you guys don't see that anymore, or at least, very slim. But if you do have that issue, send me an email so I can make sure I get that to the team. And because I am on the road and in meetings sporadically, what I would ask you is once you send me that email, or right before you send me the email, give me a call, leave me a voicemail, and let me know that you've sent that over, or send me a text message, something that I just know that your email is there, because what happens is I don't want it to get buried within my emails because it is a time-sensitive issue. I want to make sure that if you send it to me, I'm able to forward it on and get it moving. So I just wanted to bring that up since I had forgot to mention that earlier. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is some information on Agent Portal. So most of you are probably already familiar with seeing some of this. So if a member goes online and starts saving properties, we will send a text message to you letting you know the member has saved properties. So that little red area, the red text that's right there kind of toward the top, it says, a member saved new properties, view more details by visiting Agent Portal link. So it's going to be a very generic text message. It's going to say that exact thing when it comes through. So it's not going to tell you what member it is. You'd have to actually click and go into Agent Portal in order to see who the member is and what properties they're saving. And what we're wanting to do is just kind of keep you guys in the loop. So if members are looking on our website, we want you guys to know some of the homes that they're looking at, so that way you can communicate with them and maybe it's something that you guys end up looking at. If the member saves multiple properties, you're only going to get one text. So we don't want to overload you with too many text messages. So in an hour time frame, we'll send you one text. If they save 20 properties in that hour, you're going to get one text message. And then the time frame in which you'll receive those text messages is down in red as well. It's 9 a.m. To 10 p.m. Eastern time that you'll see that. Next slide. Thank you. Okay, so here's just some additional things to keep in mind. So this little logo right here on the top right-hand side that says Real Estate Rewards Network Agent, this is a logo that USAA has created for you guys to use. So please use it. You can put it on your personal website or any other social media flyers, anything that you send out. If you want to add that logo in there, you definitely can. That's what it's there for. And then our loan officers that took the application, they're responsible for collecting the intent to proceed, the sales contract, the POC for appraisal, and the title company information before the file can advance into processing. So right now we are quoting 35 days for VA and conventional for closing. And right now we're meeting our closing date about 85% of the time. So, you know, one of those things that we're just trying to be more competitive. I know before we had higher closing time frames, so now we've been able to shorten that down for you guys. We also, because we're getting some feedback that some of our agents are wanting estimate of fees, so we, coming this fall, we're actually going to be able to send out an estimate of fees. So that's something that will be coming soon. United Lender Services are cross-sold by our mortgage rep, and then we'll skip the BQ process since you guys don't have to do that anymore. Next slide. Thank you. So I know this print's really small, so you guys probably can't see it, but this is just some guidelines for documentation on VA. So you have the VA standard documentation and the VA escape clause. If you don't have a copy of this, or you think it would be useful for you to have just to kind of see the things that you will need, especially if you're, you know, maybe new to the team and you haven't done a lot of them, reach out to, you know, Tom or Ben or Travis, and they'll be able to get you a copy of these forms so you'll have them. Next. All right, so here are some of this is where I kind of want to talk about some of the changes that USAA is going through. So last year, as you guys know, with it, you know, in preparation for trade and all of that, we took a lot of mortgage products off the book in order to be able to really handle the trade guidelines and everything that was going to change for us. So we're slowly starting to put products and things like that back on the books as far as mortgage is concerned to help keep us competitive in the market. So this is a calendar for rollout of different mortgage products. So in December, we brought back leasehold, escrow holdback, VA energy efficient mortgages, high balance conforming. February, we changed our origination fee. So previously we had a flat $695 origination fee. Now our origination fee is 0.5%. Still, I think for the most part, it's lower than a lot of other mortgage companies out there. We did have before, and many of you probably didn't experience this, but our systems weren't able to take foreign addresses. So when our members were calling us to submit a loan and do an application, when they gave us, if they were overseas and they gave us a international address, our systems weren't able to handle it. So if you had that experience, like I said, it probably was very few if any of you did, but if you did have that that issue, I just want you guys to know that that's been fixed. And so now any member who is stationed overseas but moving into back to the United States and then doing a loan, we won't have any problems with our systems being able to take those international addresses. And then we also rolled out above par pricing. In March, we brought back the 97% conventional. May, we brought back the conventional 10 to 20 years. This month, we'll be doing second homes, investment properties, and conventional ARMs. And then backlog, which is probably going to be in the fall timeframe, we'll do trust, conventional jumbo, and jumbo ARMs. And so I want to kind of tell you guys a little bit about some of the changes that we've done too that's not listed on this calendar. So the first thing is we want to make we want to help educate our loan officers a little bit more, so and kind of put them through a little bit more training. So right now, the way it's been equipped is our loan officers they'll handle pretty much any call, any loan. It's kind of on a first come first served basis. So basically, if the call comes in and that loan officer is available, they're going to take that call. So, and it could be a very complex loan, and they may only have a 6 month or a year experience in doing mortgage loans. So basically, what that means is we are going to start assigning our loan officers with different levels of experience, basically. So our inexperienced loan officers who may not have been doing it for very long are going to get they're going to start taking in some of those basic loans. So those black and white mortgages, something that'll be easy for them to do, versus then taking the call and it ends up being a very, very complex loan and then not knowing how to, really how to process that correctly. And then on the flip side of that are, tenured loan officers who are very experienced and know what they're doing are going to be at a higher level. So they'll be really handling those more complicated, mortgages. So that way we make sure that everyone who's handling a loan, has full capability and really understands the whole process of it. We're also going to be putting them through quite a bit more training as well, just so they, are more experienced and well-equipped to handle, all different types of loans. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we are regionalizing our loan officers. So basically what that means is I'm sure you guys have had a loan officer ask you for a termite inspection. And, part of that is because they're not familiar with the Colorado area because they're handling every state. And so what we want to do now is we don't have loan officers, mortgage loan officers here in Colorado at our Colorado Springs office. But what we are going to be doing is the loan officers that we have and all other offices are going to handle a set amount of states. So each loan officer will have, maybe 5 or 6 states that they're going to be well-versed in. So no longer are you guys going to, have loan officers asking you for things that aren't necessary, that kind of thing. They're gonna really know the ins and outs of Colorado and will be asking you for the things that are necessary. That should be coming, we're hoping, towards the end of the year. Another change that also will probably be at the end of the year is allowing you guys to pick your loan officers. So if you have somebody that you've worked with in the past that you absolutely love and they've been great to work with and they're really great at getting things done, coming soon, you guys will be able to request those loan officers. So, keep that in mind. So, here in the next 6 months, if you haven't, used someone or you don't have anybody that you know that you'd like to request and you end up working with somebody over the next 6 months or in the next couple months, drop their name down somewhere. And then, going forward in the near future here, you'll be able to actually request that person. The other side of that is if you have somebody that hasn't been too pleasant to work with, one, we definitely want your feedback on that. So please, provide that. But you can also request not to work with those folks. So that will be something that will be coming your guys' way as well. And so those are some of the things. We're going to go through a couple more slides here, and we'll kind of talk about some more changes. The next slide talks about closing insight. So if you have a title company that you really like to use, make sure they're registered with Closing Insight. So we started kind of doing this last year. There were some technical glitches where if they hadn't registered yet and we had sent documents through, when they logged in, they weren't able to get it, and it just really wasn't communicating. That's been fixed, so we haven't had any issues with it. So most of your title companies are probably already familiar with this. A lot of the larger mortgage companies are going to be using this if they're not already. So they're probably already familiar with it. If they're not, just ask them to register for it. You have until the end of this month. So just make sure that if you have anybody, even if you're not sure, I'd recommend, not waiting until you have a mortgage with them. Just make sure, hey, are you registered for Closing Insight, to make sure that it's taken care of. Like I said, there won't be any service fee until June 30th. And then after that, that service fee will take place. And then they're not registered, that blue hyperlink at the bottom will be where they can go to actually register for that. And then, Tom, I think you said, was it Guardian that you guys have that is registered for that? What was the title company? I'm sorry. Okay, he might have stepped away. But there is, you can check with Tom, and I would assume it would be for both the Colorado Springs and Denver area, but there is already a title company that we know of that's already registered if you guys want to use them.
Sorry,
okay, next slide.
Oh, Corey. Sorry about that. But nobody was hearing me. Yeah, Guardian of Colorado is the title.
Okay, perfect. Yep.
That everyone uses for the most part here.
Okay, great. Okay, next slide. Okay, so e-sign was something that we were actually piloting. It has now been completely rolled out. So for any of you who are in the process or, coming up soon, if you have a member who's going to be using USAA mortgage, e-sign is one of the, the things that we're trying to do to be competitive and make it a whole lot easier for you guys. So our members are now able to e-sign our documents. So, that's going to be something that will make things not only easier for you guys, but a whole lot easier for our members to be able to electronically sign. I know we would have loved to have been able to roll this out when TRID first came around. That would have made things a whole lot more convenient. But now it's out, and now you guys will be able to have your members electronically sign. We are right now conducting a pilot for our employees and loan officers to be able to communicate via text message to our members. So if it's easy for our members and our members express that they would prefer to be text message to be able to communicate because it's easier for them, we are currently piloting it. I believe right now it's just on the East Coast. And then hopefully soon, like e-sign, we'll be able to roll that out completely. But just one of the other things we're trying to make things easier for you guys and for our members. Next slide, please. Thank you. All right, so this is our digital pre-call. So just a reminder, you can complete it on USAA.com or the mobile app at any time. They are able to go onto USAA.com and change the amount, but they can only lower it. So let's say they had a pre-qual for, $300,000, but wanted to make an offer on a home and print the letter for, $20,000 less than that. They can do that. They wouldn't be able to increase that dollar amount. So just kind of keep that in mind. We are also, this is one thing that's going to hopefully be coming soon. We're looking at, I believe, third or fourth quarter this year. But we are partnering with a company called PointServe. And basically what that is it's going to allow us to collect all different types of financial documents for our members and pull it all in without our members having to provide us any of those documents. And so one thing I will tell you that some of you may not know, so when we do our pre-quals, we do pull credit. Some don't know that. We do pull credit on our pre-quals. The difference is when we do our pre-quals, we ask our member and we take the verbal amount for what their income is. So, we'll ask them and, we'll ask them to be as specific as they can when it comes to what their total income and assets are. Unintentionally, sometimes what happens is members, estimate a little bit higher. So if they make, $1,850 a month, they might estimate it to $2,000, and not thinking that it can make a big difference. And so currently, some of the things that that we've seen in the past is then once they get to the underwriting portion of it, and we're really starting to review those documents, then it comes back that their income is actually higher than what was stated, and now we're having a problem getting them qualified. This should eliminate that altogether. So it will also make it easier. So even though USAA is obviously one company, we weren't able, as far as like the mortgage side of it is concerned, we weren't able to, call over to the bank or just go into our internal system and pull the member's bank statements, even though it was USAA. It was still almost kind of two subsidiary companies operating separately. And so now that's not going to be a problem anymore. So we'll be able to collect any kind of USAA document that we need, any document outside, so W-2s, pay stubs, any other financial documents from, any other financial company, will be able to pull that all in. So we're hoping that it's going to, obviously make it easier, but eliminate, any kind of issues as far as closing and hopefully reduce the time frame because we're able to pull everything. It's going to make things, quicker versus us taking it over the phone and trying to collect documents and having members send it in and that kind of thing. So just one of the things, again, that we're trying to do to make things a lot easier. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so here is just some steps after the contract is accepted. So after executing a purchase contract, the member should immediately contact USAA to complete their mortgage loan application. USAA will then deliver the initial disclosure package. After the disclosure package is delivered, the assigned loan officer will contact the member to confirm the package has been reviewed, confirm intent to proceed, and request a copy of the fully executed purchase contract. USAA Mortgage will make a welcome call to you guys generally within 24 hours of receiving the member's intent to proceed. If the member has not been able to electronically send the purchase contract, it will be requested from you guys during the welcome call. And then the member or agent acting on their behalf will be able to fax or email the purchase contract directly to the assigned loan officer. All right, next slide. Okay, and then here's just a couple little reminders as well. So remind the members to contact USAA immediately after executing the purchase contract. Provide members with an electronic copy of the executed purchase contract, and then help USAA to expedite the loan process by just reminding the members to provide their contract and any other loan verification documents immediately. And then a couple reasons why agent portal may not be updated and showing the mortgage status could be that the member has not called USAA to complete the mortgage loan application, or we have not received the intent to proceed from the member. If you have any questions or anything like that, obviously you can reach out to, Tom, but you can also contact the help desk, that 800 number I gave you as well. You can call them and they can provide you with any information that you'll need. All right, next. All right, so just a couple numbers here for you guys to keep in mind. So in the last 24 years, we've assisted over 560,000 members. We've closed over $110 billion in real estate, returned over $449 million to members, $54 million in 2015 alone, helped 200 families a day buy or sell a home, and we've had 7 years of record growth. So this is just on, the program itself. But just, very large numbers. I mean, being able to return over $54 million in 2015 alone, and we're really looking to, grow that program substantially. So those numbers are going to, hopefully grow over the next couple of years. I think the next slide is the last slide we have. Yep, and since we're not going to watch this, I would encourage you guys, just a quick video. You can watch this one and all the other ones once you get a copy of the slide deck. So that pretty much wraps up all of your training and the USAA portion of it. I think now we'll probably have a couple more last-minute things and then get into the question and answers. I think I pretty much covered it. If you guys have any questions at all or need anything from that, please don't hesitate to let me know. And Tom, I'll pass it back over to you.
To put their phone on mute, take everyone off mute. We are going to open up for any questions. If anyone has any questions, we're going to just skip right to the end here. So you're going to have a lot of this information after today's meeting, including Corey's information. We'll send that out with the slide deck as well. But we wanted to just find out if anyone had anything else that they wanted to ask while we had Corey, myself, Travis, and Ben together. And if not, I'm just going to take a brief roll call again to make sure we've got everyone here. So I know Kathy was on the call, Ed, Adam, Tom Thorne, and then Erica, did I see you jump on as well?
Yes, you did.
You've got Erica. How about Robert? Robert, did you make it?
Yep, I'm here.
You did too. Okay, great. So we did get everyone we were expecting, so you all will be certified. We'll send you the certificates from Cardis within the next 30 days once it's processed. And I think that's it from me. Again, if anyone has any questions, let us know after the session. Even you could shoot me an email and we'll get it to Corey or whoever needs to answer it.